Hello, in this video, I'm going to demo the third lab assignment in Chapter 10. The purpose of this Excel assignment is to practice some predictive analysis using the ultimate z-score to predict company bankruptcy. If you open the Excel file, you will see different companies with their financial data from the annual report. The first column is the primary key, they call GV key. That's a unique identifier for each of the company and their variables. And the second column is the company name. And then the financial variables we have column C, fiscal year. So that's like for company, you can have different years data. Then the actual financial variables, ACT means the current asset. AT is the total asset. EBIT is earnings before interest and tax expenses. LCT is the current liability, and IT is the book value of the total liability of the company. NI is the net income. RE is the return earning. Sales is the sales revenue, and ME is the market value of the shareholders' equity. So based upon these fundamental variables, we will first calculate 5 different financial ratios capture the company's performance in different areas. Then we will calculate a comprehensive ultimate Z, means a weighted average for these financial ratios, and then we group the company into different bankruptcy categories using the final ultimate Z. So please read the detailed instruction in the book also before you follow my demos, because this one we have different formulas and the procedure is a little bit longer than the prior two assignment. So first I'm going to create the 5 financial ratios. In the book, they ask us to use X1, X2, X3, X4, and X5. So that fill the name for the 5 different financial ratios. And X1 is a ratio reflecting the working capital of the company. So if you check the formula, it will equal to the difference between the current assets minus the current liability. So this is the total working capital of the company, then divided by the total assets, so scaled by the total assets. So this is the ratio telling us the liquidity of the company's assets or the current or cash-like assets. So I'm going to first calculate for the first row and then copy and paste the formula to all of the remaining data. So this is X1, liquidity ratio. X2 is the division of return earning. So the return earning can be negative if the company have accumulated loss over the operational history. They may have negative numbers. So divide by the total assets. So this is the indicator of the company's long-term profitability. Okay, long-term, because the return earning is accumulative, and this one become negative. And then X3 is the short-term or current earnings performance. We don't use the net income, but we use the earnings before interest and tax expense. So we can add back the interest and the tax back to the earnings. So this will be the F2 EBIT divided by the total assets. So short-term earnings. So we can see this first company, the short-term earnings is positive, but the accumulative is loss. Okay, so we have ideas for both long-term and short-term earnings. And then X4 is the market. So use the market value of all of the shareholders' equity. So ME divided by the IT, the book value of your total liability. So this is a long-term solvency issue. So long-term solvency means from the long term, do we have enough fund to cover all of the liabilities? And then finally, we have a efficiency ratio. Use the sales revenue divided by the total assets. So efficiency. So how efficient the company can generate the sales revenue using the current total assets. So these 5 ratios trying to make an assessment about the company's performance from different areas. And now finally we will calculate a comprehensive or weighted average ultimate Z. So I will just call this is so just give the title, okay, just call Z score. And then the weight we will give is because we will place different weight for the financial ratios. So you can tell from the what I say, like the formula from the book. So this one will equal to 1.2 so we will give a weight for the liquidity 1.2. Oh, so I should do it here. Okay, times x1 and then plus the second weight is 1.4 for the long-term profitability. And be careful, okay, like I didn't. So times the x2, then plus 3.3. This is a large weight for the current profitability ratio. And why I'm not finishing yet. And then plus 0.6 for the long-term solvency. It's always giving me this. And then plus the, maybe I forgot the plus every time, then plus this is 1. So for the weight of the efficiency, we have a 1. So I just plus x5. Okay, without the weight is 1. So before you click on enter, double check your formula is right. This weighted z-score. So we give different weight for each of the 5 ratios and calculate. And then we will categorize each company into the different categories of the bankruptcy prediction, okay, based upon this comprehensive z-score. So 1.2, 1.4, 3.3, and then 0.6, and finally 1. I think I'm okay now. So just click on that. And this is not a, so I'm just remove the $sign. It's not just a number, okay, not a currency. And then you can see I will copy and paste. So I will just highlight all of these 6 columns. Okay, I'm going to copy and paste the formula, remember? And we have a shortcut. So make sure you see this, the black across and the double click. So if you double click, all of the formula will carry over to all of the remaining rows. I believe we have a little bit over 2,000 rows. And if you want to check, okay, make sure the formula carried right to the remaining rows. I think we are fine. So the categorization or prediction for bankruptcy possibility will be based upon this z-score. So this column, so let me highlight this into yellow. And if you're looking for the book explanation, so in the book it say if a company has a z-score lower than 1.8, so lower than 1.8 means this company is a distressed company. It's very likely this company will go to bankruptcy in the near future. And if you have a Z-score between 1.8 and 3, the company is in the gray zone. So means kind of fluctuate. Okay, maybe dragged to the distressed or maybe dragged to the safe. So it's really kind of in the middle. And then any score higher than 3, if the Z-score has higher than 3, probably means the company is in the safe zone for their operations, means is unlikely or the likelihood is low for future bankruptcy. Then the higher the Z means is the company is most safe for their operations. But again, if we are just looking this raw, right? So like we can look for each company, but we don't have an idea how many company in each categories. So I'm using another Excel functions to summarize, give a grouping organization for all of the company information. So for doing this, I'm going to use a histogram analysis. So for that one, you need to start from data. So you need to choose the data. And there is a data analytic or data analysis package here. If you don't have this data analysis, because this is the add-on of Excel, for the default, you probably don't see here. If you don't have this function available in your Excel, so you can add it as an additional function. So how you can add if you don't have this data analysis? So let me show you quickly. So you go to the file, go to the, back. So file option, like the newer Excel. So go to the bottom, the option, and then you choose the add-ins. So add-ins, and choose the analysis tool pack. I believe it's this. So analysis tool pack, and then click go in the manage. Don't click OK yet. If you just click OK, you wouldn't add it. So click go, and then you will see this pop-up window. I already add. You see I already check it. If you hadn't added, you should check. So check the analysis tool pack, and then click on OK. And now you should see this data analysis in your Excel functions. I already have it. So once you have this, and click on data analysis, and scroll up and down, I already is here. So use the histogram is a grouping. So histogram is like a grouping for the sample based upon your criteria. Let me cancel this first. Before I will add my grouping variables. Then do this data analysis. So first, I will add this. So this score, and this will be the bin. So I will give the variable criteria. Like how much is the bankruptcy, how much in the middle, and how much is the safe. So I need to give the reference variables. So you can type bin as one new column, and then underneath we type the first. So I will use 1.799, so 6 decimal point. So any company below this number is in the distressed zone. Then the second is 2.999. So approximate 3. So any company lower than 1.8 distressed, and any company between 1.8 and 3, this is your middle, they call the gray zone. And any company larger than 3, they are in the safe zone. This is our criteria. And now we will initiate the histogram analysis. So double click, make sure you highlight and click OK. And this one, you need to specify the range of your, so where you select the data and where you put the data. Okay, let me flag it because I did something. So when you initially open the histogram, you don't see anything. So the input range is our z-score, the calculated z-score. So I will start from, be careful, there's some typo from the book. We need to start from the R2, second row of R, because the first row is the title. So I will start from here. Oh, sorry, is not the bin. Okay, the input range R. So make sure you have the dollar sign. Okay, that's give you a fixed selection. So $R, $2. Okay, that's the starting variable. Then they will copy 2, so 0R, but change the second 2 to 2,330 because that's the total row we have. So you can keep the R, but change the row to 2003 and 30. And this is my, like I mentioned, my demo data. So for your actual data, you may have a different number of the total rows. So double check how many rows you have and change accordingly. But you should starting from row 2 until the last row of your data. And then the bin range will be the two numerical values we defined. So this and until use the and this one. So T2 to T3. So $T, $2, and $T, $3. Okay, that's the two variables. And we want the outputs in a new worksheet. Right, so this range is very critical because if you specify the range wrong, the summary will be wrong also. Okay, after make sure everything is right, we can click on OK, and you can see my summary. Okay, the summary of my data. So the three different groups. There are 305 companies fall into the distressed. Okay, means they have less than 1.8 the score, the z-score, and 519 kind of in the gray zone between 1.8 and 3, and then 1,508 larger, okay, larger than 3. So you don't really need to specify the larger because all of the rest they will put into the like this 1,000, okay, in the more category. So if you add them together, so you can see that it should be the 29. 20, we have totally 2,300 rows, 330 rows, but the first row is your field name. Okay, so we totally, for my demo data, I have totally 2,329 companies, and they are distributed in 3 areas of the bankruptcy prediction. So again, remember this is a predictive analysis. Okay, it's not an actual result yet, but it gives you some idea if you are trying to evaluate and analyze a special company. You can use the ultimate Z to give you a prediction idea, okay, for the company's performance. So this is for predictive analysis, helping us look forward, okay, to expect what will happen in the future so we can well be prepared.